Hi everyone, and welcome back for another Tate Township Public Library Take Home Activity Kit. My name is Heather, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make an adorable set of pillow pumpkins. So we've given you most of the materials you need to make these, and we'll go through what's in your kit and what you'll need at home. So first, I'm going to put a little example, this is the small one, off to the side. And in your kit, you're going to get 2 pieces of the orange fabric, one to make a small pumpkin like this size, and one to make a larger one. You're also going to get some heavy duty thread and some embroidery floss. You're going to get a few leaves to decorate the top of your pumpkins, as well as 2 corks to use as the stem, and a sewing needle should be in one of the corks. And you're also going to get some jute cord, and that's to decorate your corks, as well as some black felt stickers, and these are if you want to add a jack-o'-lantern face to your pillow pumpkin. I haven't done that to my little one yet. Haven't decided. I kind of like it the way it is, but I'm going to do a face on the big one for sure. Alright, what did I forget? That is everything for the pumpkins that you get in the kit, and at home you're going to need some scissors to cut your threads, hot glue for your decorations. There's my glue gun over here getting all warmed up. And then you're also going to need some sort of stuffing to stuff your pumpkins. So I have some batting or pillow stuffing or quilting stuffing here. So you can use something like that. You could use foam, like soft foam. If you have an old pillow, Mom said you can take it apart, you can use the stuffing from that. You could use some leftover plastic bags, tissue paper, leftover fabric. Maybe you've got a basket of mismatched socks you want to use up. Something like that to stuff your pumpkins and make them nice and soft and squishy. But you don't have to go and buy like fancy stuffing to do this. You can use some stuff at home if you have that. We do suggest that you don't use printed newspaper because we tried that and it didn't really give it that nice shape. Also, you could see the printing through the fabric just a little bit, so enough that it didn't look the way you wanted it to. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for your stuffing material. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna move the decorations out of the way. And our jute, take my needle out of the cork and put the cork up there, our leaves, and our color string. Now yours is gonna be on a nice cardboard piece. I didn't get that on there yet for my kit, but that's all right. And so I pre-cut my string, but you're gonna need 3 pieces of your heavy duty thread, for this sewing project. You're gonna need one that's a little bit longer than the top, one that's a little bit longer than the bottom, and then one that has long enough for this one side that you have some ends. So we're gonna put the shorter one off to the side and one of the longer ones. And the first thing you need to do is thread your needle, of course. But what we're going to do is these long ones, we're going to do what's called a running stitch along the both long ends of your fabric. And a running stitch, and if you'll see in the instructions, is when you just go over and under and over and under and over and under. You don't want to wrap it over the edge or anything like that. And the reason for that is because we're going to use it like a drawstring and gather in the ends for the bottom of the pumpkin and the top of the pumpkin. So that makes it easier so it slides so you can pull it. So I'll do a little bit and I'll show you. And I'll turn around the camera so you can see it up closer. And then I'll fast forward after I have both sides done. So thread your needle a couple of inches down. And I'm going to start on my right side because I'm right-handed. So we're going to go through the fabric and then back in about a 1/2 centimeter or 5 mils down from the edge, and your stitches you want to be about the same length. Oops, fumbling here. Don't poke yourself, that hurts. Alright, so you can see, I'll hold it up. And I'll turn the camera around that you do a couple, 5 mils, so your needle goes through the both holes. And I am not a sewing expert. So if you're a sewing expert and you're saying she's using the wrong words, That's why. All right, and I found that I can do 2 stitches at a time on the needle. More than that, it's too hard to pull through the fabric because these are thick needles. So you can set up 2 stitches like that and then pull it through. So then you've got an over-under type stitch called a running stitch. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you again a little bit close up, and then I will get sewing, and then we'll go on to the next steps after that. So I'm just going to show you now so you can see my hands. Those are those couple of stitches I did before, and then we're just going to go over a little bit through the back, and then I like to set up 2 so it goes a little faster, about 1/2 centimeter. So if you pull your fabric on the needle, you can see that there's 2 stitches on my needle. You push that through, whoops, and then pull it. And you can see sometimes when you pull it through how it starts to gather, and that's what we're gonna do when we wanna close up our pumpkin. So do that and just leave a little bit tail on the end because we're gonna need something to hold on to. So go ahead and stitch along one side with one piece of thread along the other long side, and then I'll show you how to sew up the 2 sides together. Okay, I've got the stitches done on the bottom and the top of my fabric of the long sides. The next step is to sew the 2 short edges together. But the first thing we want to do is look at our fabric and see if there's any pencil marks, because sometimes we had some pencil marks marking out where to cut, and you want that to be on the outside when you fold it in half. I think mine's pretty good. I do have some along the edge, but that'll get hidden when we cinch it up. Oh, there's some right here. So I'm gonna put that on the outside. So we're gonna flip it over and fold it. So you can see that pencil is on the outside of the project right now. So go ahead, fold it in half, and then line up your 2 straight edges, or your 2 short edges, sorry. And it doesn't really matter what stitch you use for this part. I'm just gonna do another running stitch, but I'm gonna make sure that I knot it at the 2 ends, whereas these ones we left free because we're gonna pull them. So make sure it's all lined up, thread your needle again. And then this time we're going through both sides of the fabric. And make sure you don't sew in your 4 other ends. So just a little bit down from that cinched area, we're gonna go through both pieces, pull it through, and then I'm going to tie a knot with my little end. Sorry, I'll move to the middle there. So I'm just going to tie it off and do another one. And then now we can now what I like to do is a couple stitches, and then I like to back stitch a little bit just to make sure that our edge won't come free. There we go, sorry. Fumbling today. So let's go through. And I'm going to keep those 2 other tails out of the way. Through both, and back through the top, and then I'll go back 1 stitch, just a little bit, and then back over again. And that just makes sure that if your knot comes free, the whole thing isn't gonna unravel. All right, and now go ahead and do a running stitch all along the short edge, and we'll come back and see what's next. Okay, I'm all done sewing. Now when you get to the other side of your short edge, just make sure you knot it off and back stitch it a couple, and then you can go and trim that end. But remember, don't trim your ends from the long sides yet. Got a little one over here. All right, and then the next step is to turn it right side out. And then that's gonna hide that side stitch. So you go and turn it right side out. It should be like a sleeve. And then you can see that's that side stitch I did. Just joins it and you don't even see the thread. All right, so next we're gonna take one side and cinch it up, and that's gonna be the bottom of the pumpkin. So grab your ends of the long side and don't pull too hard, because this, even though it's pretty strong thread, it can still break. So what we're gonna do is gently pull it and it'll cinch it up. And make sure you do both sides. You can do one at a time or pull them both. If you find that it's struggling, you can move your cinched material down the thread. And just kind of shimmy it all the way down until you've got this tight part there. And then what you're going to do is tie in a knot these two pieces. Tie them together, give them a good tug, and I'm going to do it again. And just in case, I'm going to do a knot where you put both of them together. And slide that right down and then cut it off after that. Oh, that didn't go very close. I'm going to do one more. All right. And then you can trim those ends off. And now your pumpkin has a bottom. And the next step is to stuff. Now when I stuffed my little one, I could have added more stuffing because it's pretty soft. But I like how you can see the segments on it. Whoops. So that's up to you how much stuffing you're gonna put in there. I'm gonna try and put a little bit more than I did in the little one. And this is my big pile of stuffing, so I kind of have to cut it into chunks or pull it apart. I got a little one here, put that in the bottom first. And then I'm gonna cut strips of this stuffing until I have it stuffed enough. So I'm gonna fast forward this part. Now we can kind of get the idea if that's full enough by kind of just squishing it all together. Squish it around. I think I need one more piece. I think that should be good. So I need to adjust my camera. You guys can't see this giant pillow. I'm gonna turn the camera around before I cinch it in so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, I've got all of my stuffing in here that I need. And then what you're gonna do is the same thing that you did on the bottom. So you're gonna carefully cinch this back together. So get your two ends. And remember to shimmy the cinching around. Do it so you can see. Stuff it in there as you go. Sometimes you gotta adjust your stuffing once you get it cinched up. That's okay. So you're gonna have to play with it just a bit. There we go. Oops, I'm pulling it all the way out. It's a bit of a fight, but once you get it up, all cinched together, whoops, you gotta hold both ends. That's what the problem is. And you can tie your knot. See, I've still got a pretty big hole, so I'm gonna try this and gently tug it, but you don't want it to break, because then you gotta re-sew that whole area. Here we go. So hold both sides, give it a squish and a tug, and then tie your knot. My knot came out, but I did. There we go. Tie it again. It's okay if you've got a little hole, because you're gonna cover that with your cork and your decorations anyways. See, I've got a little bit of a hole left, but this one's a little bit smaller. So I'll probably leave this one as the bottom, because that one worked out well. But if you find one side cinched up better than the other, you can always flip it over, whatever way you like it. So now it's just a round pillow. You're wondering, how do I make it look like a pumpkin? Well, that's what the colored thread is for. And remember, we've given you enough for both pumpkins, so when you do this, you have to measure out and make sure you've saved enough for the second pumpkin. I'm just doing a couple extra knots just to make sure this doesn't come undone on me. We don't want pumpkin guts everywhere. There we go. And cut off those tails. All that thread, just so we could cinch it up and use that much. It's fun. All right, so give it a squish and a shape. And then you're gonna take your colored thread, which mine probably got tangled. You get somewhere around the middle. It's a long piece of thread to have to deal with. Put them out. It's easier if you have a big table like this, for sure. All right, so get somewhere around the middle. And I got a knot again. Hang on a sec. You know what? That's okay. No pumpkin is perfect. All right. So then you want to sit it down in the middle of the bottom of your pumpkin. Bring the two ends up and then twist them over. Now, when I did the little one, I found it easier to knot it, but with these big long strings, I don't think that's going to be possible. So let's just bring the one side through so you can twist them. So you want it to go through around the whole middle of your pumpkin, and then you want to pull it tight, and that's what gives you the grooves of the segments of the pumpkin. Picked up some of my string. There we go. The struggle today. Get another white string. Okay. See how more tangly we can get. So you pull it tight around the middle, and then you flip it over and go around the middle the other way. And then you pull that tight, and then you twist a little and do another segment, and then this is up to you how many segments you want to get. Right now we have 4. So then you go in the middle of 2 this way, and make sure you're keeping it tight. Twist, untangle as you go. This is the fun part. didn't happen to me on the little one. And then go around in between the other two big sections. So if your string broke like mine, you're pulling too tight, which is fine. I did practice on the little one. Now, what you can do if you're finding it a little bit difficult to hold it tight and go around that many times, you can do 1, 2, tie it off and get a new piece. That would be easier than having this big long piece of string. But you might not have a problem. My string just keeps getting tangled today because I kept moving it around. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have it around once and around twice, and I'm gonna cut it there. So maybe do shorter pieces each time, and that's fine. You could use a different piece each time you go around the pumpkin. But so I've got it around the middle, one way, and then the other way, like an X. So we're gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna do a knot here with how tight I want it to be. And then I'm gonna twist it and go around the other way and do a knot. Like that. We'll get our 4 sections. You might need an extra set of hands. Maybe that was my problem. I don't have enough hands. Let's see. Fluff it, and you can move your strings around, and you can see the different segments of the pumpkin. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to, there was one that didn't get as tight, so actually I'm gonna just go over that one that didn't get as tight. And it could just be the way the stuffing is sitting, but it is your own design, so if you want to move things around, do it a little bit differently. As always I say in the crafts, it's up to you. You are the creator of this. I've never said that before, but it's true. Everybody's looks a little bit different, even though the instructions are the same. All right, so I'm going to cut those off. And there we have our pumpkin shape. Now you can pull at the fabric, kind of move the stuffing if you want. It depends also what you stuffed your pumpkin with. I think that looks pretty good. And then the next step is using hot glue and our stickers. So I'm gonna put my pumpkin just off to the side right here. There's my little guy too. And the next step is if you want to wrap your cork in jute. So you just put a little dab of hot glue and then just wrap it around, and you can glue as you go so it doesn't slide. So I'm going to do that with my cork. So the glue gun is escaping. So put a little dab there. And then just wrap it around. Now I'm at the top, so I'm just going to put a little extra glue to hold it in place. And then if you've got any extra, you can always curl it around. I just ran out, I had only a little piece. So I'm just going to tuck the end and glue the end on the top there. And you can decide which way you want up. Whoops. Slip. A little extra hot glue. Hold it for a second so it doesn't slide away. And then that's going to be the stem in the middle of your pumpkin. Yeah, that's the top. And I've got these 2 red and brown leaves. So I'm actually going to stick those on first off to the side so that the cork kind of hides. Hides the stems of the leaves. Let's see. It's gonna be my front. My seam is right at the middle on this here. So I'm gonna make this the front. And then you can kind of place your leaves strategically. So you don't need too much. Glue and fabric and hot glue are friends. So stick that one there. This one just kind of overlapping on top of the other one. This is going to be the bottom of my cork, so I need another piece of glue. Put a good amount of hot glue on the bottom of your cork, and then stick it right on the center of your pumpkin. Give it a good squish. There we go. Now we get to do our jack-o'-lantern face, which is super fun. So I was thinking I would just cut these little felt stickers in half, which would make triangles, and then we could stick them up and down as teeth. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those in half diagonally. So then you get a tooth. It's like that. You can put them different directions. So I'm gonna go and cut a bunch of those. So how many we got? 1, 2. You can always cut a couple more. And then I was going to use these to cut my eyes. Maybe I'll do circle eyes. They don't have to be triangles. So I'm going to cut one of these big felt stickers in half. And then just round out the corners, make big oval eyes. And just keep trimming until you get the shape that you want. You could always trace an object too if you want them to be a certain shape or a certain design. You could sketch it out on paper first and then use a permanent marker to draw on the plastic back, and then you have something to cut out with it. I'm gonna just put my one eye on top of the other one, and so that they're the same. I'm just gonna even up this one side. Buried all my triangles. That's okay. And cut out my second eye. Put those off to the side. So I've got my 2 eyes and my teeth to make a smile. All right, so this is my front here. So I'm gonna take my eyes first. That was tricky. All right. Stick one eye towards the top. That. And if you think you want it to be a little bit more secure, you can always glue those with hot glue a little bit extra. So there's one eye. There we go. Got it. Eyeball number 2. Now I've just got 2 eyes. Let's figure out these teeth. Okay, there's my smile so far. It kind of turned out a little spooky, but that's okay. Halloween's coming, and have it this way before Halloween and then this way around Halloween. Just thinking I might put some more little triangles, just one more to make it look like it's smiling. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that. But you can come and see it in branch if you want. That is I'm pretty sure it's finished. I'm just going to try and fix the mouth a little bit more. But thank you so much for joining us for another Tate Township Public Library craft. I hope you enjoyed this one, making your 2 little pumpkin pillows and jack-o'-lanterns. I hope you have a happy Halloween, and I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And don't forget to watch our newsletter and Facebook and all that for the next activity kits that we come up with. Thanks again for joining me. Oh, and don't forget, you can share your photos with us on Facebook or Instagram by tagging us at TayTownshipPL, or you can send us an email at library@tay.ca with your photos. Thanks so much.